Hello everybody, today I'm looking at these Birch fusion projects, which I'm trying to do without using any kind of wiring, and they've been growing really well, but they are starting to drop all their lower leaves in favour of this big, long, tall growth that isn't really going to be helpful in the long run. So I've decided that, well, not for all of them, but for some of them I'm going to cut them back. And then I'm gonna got the odd dead piece here as well, which needs to come off just to be out of the way. The good news is I am achieving fusion on some of the trees, which I say that, but not so much on this one. We've got a piece in here that's fused reasonably well, but for this one I'm gonna cut it back. I'm going to cut this piece back quite hard. There's a bud there, so I'm going to cut it back to there. In fact, I'm just going to cut it back wherever I can see a bud popping, which is, there is one there popping as well. Take out all these little dead pieces that have been shaded out. And then we can see what we can see. As I say, I don't want the great big long leggy things. I'm trying to create this trunk at the moment, sitting astride this rock. So that's where my attention is lying. And here I'm going to need to decide on a top, and I'm going to choose the smaller, weaker shoot as the new apex there. And I think that'll give the best taper. And even that I'm going to chop back too. That's a good bud just there, so okay, might seem a little drastic, but I think the tree will benefit from throwing out a whole bunch of new buds. Now this branch here hasn't cooperated in staying in place, so I'm actually going to go with my, I was going to say tried and trusted. It's tried but not entirely trusted yet, because I've only been using this method for about a season. But I'm going to try and use the grafting tape, see if I can get this piece to sit into there a bit more tightly. That'll give a bit more of the illusion of holding on to this rock as it thickens. I don't know how well you can see, but these two trees here are fused in this section, so that's good. And a couple of the others have fused even better. We'll look at those in a minute. So I can just get this tree to sit in nicely there. Sorry, my hand's in the way. It's better. Hopefully this won't cut in like wire does, and we'll keep that branch in tight to that tree, and it'll work, or rather like an approach graft is the plan. Okay, moving up. I'll try and tuck it in nice and tight there, and then as it comes through here, likewise. I'm not getting the tape very flat, I appreciate that, but because of all these extra branches in the way, that's quite difficult. I think I'm just going to leave it there like that. Now I'm going to shorten a few of these other pieces. There's another dead piece there. I don't think it's dead all the way back. Just nibble back till I find a live piece. There we go, that's live there. And we'll see how that goes. Come spring, the tree almost seems to be sliding off the end of the rock. I mean, this may be a complete failure. This kind of anchors it and stops it from sliding off the edge of the rock. And honestly, I can't remember how much rock is under the surface of the soil, how far it goes down. So I could go and look at the video when I put this together. In fact, I might, but it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference at this point in the game, so perhaps I'll just leave it and it'll be a surprise when I repot it. Okay, so that's tree number 1. So here's the second tree that I've been doing the same technique with. We have more decisive fusion with this one, which is good, but we still have the same, everything's getting really quite leggy situation going on. Some of the roots are gripping the tree, the rock quite firmly at the moment, which is quite nice, although we do have gaps I can push the scissors almost through, but they will fill in as time goes by, I guess. So this is kind of a twin trunk off the rock, and this is what I felt was going to be the front. Let's see if I can't zoom you in a little bit on that rock so you can see what's going on. So yeah, so we have the roots sitting down nicely over the rock, and some of them are actually touching, and I can see there's some flattening, so that's good. Like I say, in other cases we have big gaps, but they will slowly but surely fill in. So I've got a lot of buds in this area which will help fatten these pieces up when I chop back. That's my hope. So moving back out, like I did with the other one, I'm going to trim this back to where I can see a good live bud that's just waiting to pop out. Here with this trunk I have 3 leaders essentially, so I'm going to reduce, well, no 2 leaders, that one's dead. Right, okay, so chop that to there, shorten that. It might seem a funny time of the year to be doing this. It's August, middle of August, it's 22nd of August to be exact, but I think there's enough of the year that we'll get a second little flush of growth closer into this trunk, which is what we need to keep it compact. Got these buds just waiting to go, several in this area, so nip that off. This piece is just fattening up this root here, but I'm going to shorten it back to there, but it will come off entirely in the long run. Let me just zoom you in. Okay, so that's chopped everything back. I'm not going to put anything in terms of tape or anything on this one. I've already put some up here. There is a bud just there, so I'm going to remove that piece. Nip off that. Okay. Yeah, there is some good fusion in this portion of the tree. Several of the trees have fused together. Let me see if I can zoom in at all on that. So these couple of trees have fused together. It may always look like one of those ficus trees that you sometimes see that have been platted as a standard. I'm hoping it won't, but time will tell. As I say, this is the perceived front at the moment as a kind of twin trunk forming the canopy in this area, so we will see how it goes over the next few years. That's tree number 2. So here's the third and final tree in this grouping. Obviously, being in this little bonsai pot, it hasn't put on anywhere near as much growth as the other two, but we are getting fusion, and the roots are gripping the rock, particularly in this area. So and in here, this inner tree trunk root is touching the bark, which is nice, and this one is also touching the bark in places, so I'm pleased with that. So a lot of moss, which you'll know, regular viewers at least will know, I really don't like a lot of moss on my trees, so I'll just peel that away from the trunks, so you can see a bit more of how they are reaching the bottom of the rock and the surface of the soil. Yeah, I'm going to do exactly the same. This tree is growing quite nicely, but again it's starting to produce all its growth at the top and dropping its lower leaves, so going to encourage that back budding for what's left of the year. Hopefully it's got enough time to throw out new growth that will harden off before the first frosts. I don't know whether we're going to have a hard winter. We haven't had a hard winter for a couple of years. There's an old saying that when there's a lot of fruit on the trees and a lot of berries and things, that it's going to be a hard winter, and nature's providing for the birds. And certainly, you look in the hedgerows, there's a lot of blackberries and a lot of elderberries and things like that. So nature's certainly providing some feast for the birds this winter. Whether that's a true saying or just an old saying of no consequence, I have no idea. But we shall see. Okay, so I'm thinking this is too long and I want to shorten it back, so I have a good bud just there that I can shorten it back to. I can shorten this one back to there. Okay, so that's a bit better. So yeah, that's about it. Bringing it back into bounds, and once everything's fused, hopefully we'll lose this little bit of inverse taper here. Should I say inverse? Is it inverse or is it reverse? I never know. And I think I know, I then forget, and then I wonder if I know again. So anyway, a little bit more off the top there and there and there. Okay, so quick 360 of that one. It's growing very well. The great thing is I'll have no wire scars, but it might, like I say, look like one of those braided ficus office plants that you used to see a lot in the 70s and 80s. Thank you all for watching in these difficult times. Please take care of yourselves. Stay safe.